Ys is a series that is very, very dear to me, despite only discovering it last year. It's kind of hard to explain why I love these games so much. The characters, the music, the gameplay. Yeah, they're all great in every game, but there's more to it than you really think. These games just, well, for lack of better words, vibed with me on a really personal level. I started with the ninth game around last year and went on to complete the series not long after. And during that journey, as you can probably tell, the 10th game was announced. Being naturally excited to experience a brand new Ys game, I imported it day one. I didn't know what to expect going in, but after finishing the game twice now, it's safe to say. This is the best RPG I have ever played. Now, before I get into this video properly, you're probably wondering, what the hell is Ys? Ys is a video game series created by Falcom. You've probably heard of them because of the Trails games. Ys is basically the godfather of Japanese RPGs, standing proudly next to Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy. In fact, Ys predates Final Fantasy by a few months, in Japan anyways. While it wasn't as popular as other RPGs back then, or to this day really, it was still amazing for its time, to say the least. As you can probably guess, the game did pretty good, so the series continued, even if a certain game almost killed the whole series, but that's not important right now. Ys grew popular for its gameplay, which was pretty different compared to other RPGs at the time. The gameplay of Ys has changed a lot throughout the years, with the series doing something completely new every few games. There's bump combat from the first two games, where you sorta just run into the enemies. I know it sounds and probably looks weird too, but it was fun, trust me. Then there's the pistol system, introduced in Ys 6. To put it simply, it's your typical fast-paced hack and slash gameplay, with some platforming mixed in there as well. Not to mention, these games, 6 in particular, were tough as hell. For me personally though, it was Oath and Felgana. I swear I spent like 2 hours on this one boss in that frozen mountain. Even so, I still had fun. Next, there's the party system, introduced in Ys 7. In these games, you get to control 3 characters and switch between them at will. You'd end up switching characters a lot because in these games, your character can have one of 3 attributes: Slash, Pierce, or Strike, and the enemies would be weak to one of those 3, so you'd have to switch your character for better damage. The Party system was really well done, even in 7. It was just fun in general. That is, until you realize they've had this since 2009. I mean, yeah, it was only 4 games, but even Falcom themselves knew they needed something fresh. And how could I forget probably the most important aspect to many people when it comes to East, the music. I'm not even gonna try to explain how good Falcom does when it comes to music, just listen. You get the idea. When it comes to music, Falcom is undefeated. Honestly, how do you go 11-0 on a soundtrack? They literally can never miss. I mean, even the one Baddies game had pretty good music. How the hell do they do it? The protagonist of these games, -1, is a man known as Adol, a red-headed swordsman who calls himself an adventurer. The lore is that these games are based on Adol's journals that detail his adventures. And can I just say, I totally love this guy as a protag. He just gets cooler with every game. Hell, he even looks cooler in the anime. Not to mention, this guy's been through a lot. I mean, hold on, where's the list? He's been in multiple shipwrecks, kicked down a mine shaft, framed for murder, tortured, put up for execution, fought multiple gods. Oh, and he got shot too. Oh, and how could I forget most recently where he genuinely almost died. And despite everything I just said, he's still alive and kicking. You know why?
Because he's number one. Whether you like him or don't like him, there's nothing you can do about him because he's number one.
Man, this game meant something to me. When it first got announced, I was stupidly excited. I still remember it like it was yesterday. I mean, just seeing screenshots of Adol had me hype. I was genuinely happy to see him again. What was surprising was that East 10 didn't take place right after 9. In fact, it takes place right after 2, but before Celceta. Some people were disappointed we were going backwards on a timeline again, and I mean, I was too. Especially after 9 was the first game to take place after 7, so Adol was the oldest he's ever been at 24. If I had to pick though, I'd want the next game to take place right after 9 or in between 8 and 6. Right after Ultim Felghana might be cool too, but I have a feeling that's where the East 5 remake is gonna happen. Hopefully anyways. Now, you might be wondering, what's so good and different about 10 compared to the past games that it saved your life and for you to call it the peak of the series? I gotta say though, I won't be talking about anything story related, since I didn't actually translate anything when I played. I mean, even if I've beaten the game twice now, I'm gonna play it 2 more times once the English release drops. That alone should just tell you how much I love this game, and that leads me to my first point about East 10. The gameplay alone makes this the best RPG I have ever played. I'm talking pure gameplay, pure fun factor, no story impact, no how much I love the characters, although I will be talking about a certain character in a bit, but gameplay wise, East 10 is a new series peak. Just how Open Felgana was peak for that engine, how East 9 was the peak for party combat, even if people say 8 was the better game. For their first game with this new style of combat, they peaked. I mean, it was so good. Just thinking about what they could do next gets me hyped. The East 5 remake will be generational. Alright, I guess I should go into detail about the gameplay of East 10. So, after 4 games of using party combat, Falcom knew they needed something fresh and original for this new game. I mean, this is an anniversary game after all. They gotta go all out with this. If only they went all out with the graphics. More on that later though. Anyways, East 10 uses a completely new style of combat called cross-action. So, the party system, the attributes, and the enemy weaknesses from the last 4 games are gone. Also, unlike the party system, there's only 2 playable characters this time, Adol and a new character, Karja. I love this woman, by the way, but more on that later. So, with this new cross-action system, there's 2 parts. There's solo mode, which is the typical fast-paced East combat we all know and love. You can do a basic combo and of course use your skills as long as you have the SP for it. In 10, compared to 8 and 9 at least, you'll be dashing way more in combat, making stuff even more fast-paced and fun. Also, you can switch characters mid-combo, which is probably the best part of this combat, to me anyways. Also, if you get hit with a certain attack while in the dash state, you'll be able to dodge through it and counterattack, which is really cool. Then, there's combination mode, where both Adol and Karja attack at the same time. When in combination mode, you get a whole separate set of skills that Adol and Karja can do together. However, it uses both of their SP gauges, so don't spam them, even if SP refills kinda quickly. Also, while in combination mode, if you don't attack, you automatically guard, and if you guard at the right time, you do a perfect parry and you'll be able to counterattack. But if you mistime it or hold it down against certain attacks, you'll get guard broken, which leaves you open to attacks for a bit. On higher difficulties, you'll probably die off of that, so be careful. Next up is Mana Action. These are basically a few abilities you'll obtain throughout the game. There's Mana String, which is the thing tying Adol and Karja together. With this, you can grapple onto certain points while you're out exploring, or you can use it to grapple towards your enemies during combat, which is really useful. Next up, there's Mana Ride. This is pretty much just a surfboard. You can surf downhill for extra speed while exploring, or you can surf on these things called wind paths. Basically, just think of these as aerial grind rails. Then there's Mana Burst. So in East 10, you get 2 elements. Adol gets fire and Karja gets ice. You use the fire to burn through trees blocking your path, and use ice to freeze water to get up to a higher area. Finally, there's Mana Sense. This basically lets you see invisible items hidden around the map, and later on you can even use it to stop time, which gets used a few times in sections later on in the game. Yeah, there's the growth system too, but like I said before, I didn't really translate anything, so I don't totally understand it. From what I could tell though, it's pretty much a skill tree, and you use these orbs to increase one of your attributes each time you unlock a part of the skill tree. And, unsurprisingly, fishing is here too, but it's an RPG. Of course you're going to be able to fish. And then, there's the other main part of the game, ship combat. I know it sounds crazy considering Adol's luck with ships, but you gotta remember, this game takes place right after East 2, so half of the shipwrecks haven't even happened yet. Anyways, there's tons of stuff you can do while on the sea. You can fight other ships, you can board enemy ships and fight to take it over, you can even find a few merchants out there too. Then, there's recapture battles, where you fight an enemy ship to reclaim an island, and once you do that, you raid the base of the island and fight a few waves with enemies before fighting the boss. And so, that's pretty much the gameplay of East 10. To be honest, it was way more fun than I ever thought it'd be going in. I totally loved it. But, you know what else I loved about this game? This is pretty much just gonna be me gushing about how much I like Karja, cause oh my god man, they did her so well. So, pretty much, she's a pirate princess and, well, that's kind of all I know. I didn't translate anything, but that's the thing. I didn't translate any dialogue, and somehow, some way, I still ended up caring about her so much. I'm thinking it might be 2 reasons. First, the character animations in this game. Falcom really stepped up their game with this. Like, these characters actually emote. They're expressive. Second though, Carter's voice actor. I don't know who it is, but oh my god, bro, they locked in when they got in that studio.
ラウボス島に向かってるアドルすげえなベルセルクのことかそれとも別の何かだったのかそれさちょっと無責任な言葉じゃねでもまあ嬉しいかも行こうぜ兄弟サンドラス号に戻ろう
Dude, that scene had me on the verge of tears and I didn't even know what was being said. Do you understand how good of a character you have to be for me to love you despite not knowing what you're saying? Oh my god, I fucking love this game, bro. Like, I haven't cared about characters this much since, unsurprisingly, last year when I played East 9. I won't lie, when I got close to the end of the game and had to say goodbye to all the characters, yeah, I might have gotten close to crying. So what? I fucking love them. Same with this game, dude, I swear, this is the kind of game where you genuinely want to stop playing just so the game doesn't have to end. How does Falcom do it? These people are in a whole different league. And despite all that, I still have one, and I mean only one issue with this game. Now, don't get me wrong, this game does not look bad at all, but it's definitely not graphically intensive either, which isn't really a bad thing. There's a certain vibe from this game, and all the other East games really, that you won't get in any other series. However, if you compare East 10 to the latest Trails game, you're gonna notice a pretty big difference. I mean, it's like they weren't even made by the same people. East is usually getting the short end of the stick, and it's really unfortunate. Like, yeah, I know East 10 is a Switch game, which was really just ported to PS4 and 5, but goddamn, I know Falcom can do better, and you see it too. We just gotta pray they go all in for the next game. Alright, I think I've gone on about East enough for one video. I should probably wrap this up. So, to sum things up, I love this game and everything about it. Getting into this series was probably the best decision I've ever had, and I'm so glad I decided to import East 10, because honest to God, this is the most fun I've ever had with the game in a really long time. I plan to make a video on East 9 as well, and talk about how I fell in love with the series after playing it. To be totally honest, that video was supposed to be first, but hey, shit happens. If you somehow enjoyed this video, subscribe and stay posted for when that video finally drops. And if you watched all the way through to the end, thank you, and I'll see you next time.